Hey guys, so today I want to talk about failures and meaning. So I've noticed recently that I tried to start my first business when I was 16 in junior year of high school. I'm now a sophomore going to junior in college now, so it's been about 3 or 4 years. And the first business I tried to start was a clothing company, an e-commerce company, because a guy that I followed on YouTube that was really jacked and did things I wanted to do, ran an e-commerce company. So I tried to do the same thing, copy him, because we learn by copying, right? And so I originally started this I don't even, it was a WordPress website, and I used like some $100 plugin and did all this, and then I found out about Shopify, which I don't know how I didn't find that first place. Use Shopify, and then I got the store all done and it was all polished and it looked great. And I spent hours and hours and days on it. And then I realized that I didn't have any customers. So that kind of botched the entire thing. And so then the next business I tried to start, I believe was some form of selling workout plans. So I would make videos. I did 75 hard. If you don't know what it is, it's like 75 days of like 2 workouts a day, gallon of water, reading, etc. And I posted a video a day for 75 days, and it got a lot of traction. They were averaging like 7,000 views per video on Shorts. Um, got a couple hundred followers from that, posting short form. And the whole idea was at the end of 75 days, I'd sell my 75 hard workout plan. And then the problem that arose with that was the fact that when I went to sell the workout plan, I burned out and I didn't stay consistent with it. And I stopped posting. I said that I would get back on it, never got back on it. So posted 75 days straight, built up a really solid following, got a lot of momentum. Was doing like 7 to 10,000 views on some of the shorts. Some of them went up to like 13, 14,000. Some of them were like in the low hundreds. Some of them were in the mid thousands. It varied, but moral story is I was getting views and I was averaging like 5 to 10 new subscribers each day, which is a good amount. I was at like 500 subs by the time I no 410 I think subs by the time I finished 75 hard. And so I was halfway to being monetized on YouTube with regards to subs, but I need watch hours. But I stopped. That's the moral of the story. And so I went from one extreme of had a cool product, didn't have any customers, to had a bunch of customers, stayed inconsistent, and I stopped. Then the next business I started, things started to fall into place. So I guess I wouldn't really call business, but doing Amazon influencers or affiliate marketing is I still make a huge, not huge, a somewhat good chunk of like 700 to 800 bucks a month passively without me really doing anything from that. And the only reason I got into that was because I posted for 75 days. I applied with a socials account and I got accepted because I had consistent posting and I had some followers. They let me in, and then I spent 3 months doing 4 or 500 videos, so like 2 3 minute videos that summer, and they went directly on Amazon, and I instantly went from zero to $1,000 a month in 3 months. So cool business, right? I decided I didn't like that anymore, and I was gonna start something else. So I moved to college and started working on, among other things, a software company. I wanted to make a app that used AI and made customized workout plans and nutrition plans because there's a lot of apps that did workouts, a lot of apps that did nutrition, but none that did both. And so I want to do that. So I learned like Swift, which is the iOS Apple's programming language that allows you to make iOS App Store apps. I went through that whole process, figured out how to get my app in the App Store, figure out how to use AI to code and program the interface. Got databases set up, and I actually did get the apps working. And then I ran into the same problem: is I didn't have any demand. I had made somewhat okay of a product, but I had nobody to use it. So I moved on again to at some point in time I tried to sell a course on school.com about how to get jacked because I had personally put on like 30 pounds of muscle in like 6 months. And so it's like, I'm going to sell a course on that. I gave up on that when I ran Facebook ads for 2 days and averaged a $3 um, cost per member for a free community. So I was paying $3 to get a free member. And so I gave up after 2 days. And so I started to notice a trend here. And it was the fact that I had successfully done things, but I didn't stick to it long enough for it to start bringing in money. I had successfully created a somewhat okay working app and figured out how to get in the App Store, but I didn't stick with it long enough to get customers. I had created this idea for a workout course, but I never actually got around to sticking to it. I had made a clothing company with a good Shopify store, and I had made clothing, like actually made it and print on demand, and I never got around to getting people to do it. I started 75 Hard, and I finished that with a following and never stuck around long enough to keep building that following. And had I stuck with any of those, I would have still been successful now. And now I'm starting to do some things, which I can talk about at some point, hopefully, where it's all starting to fall into place. And I'm because I try to start to make an iOS app, I know how to use AI to make iOS apps and websites and use AI tools to code. I tried to start an AI automation agency, so I know how to do AI automations and like Zapier automations. And because I tried to start a clothing company, I know how to use Shopify. And because I tried to post on social media, I know how to do shorts. And for all of these different things, I learned something. And all of these failures, which I wouldn't even count as failures because I really didn't even start in the first place, I got halfway there and gave up. But I learned something from each of them. I learned the tools and I learned the skills that I needed in order to start it, but I didn't stick to it long enough for work. So now a couple of things that I'm doing, I'm noticing that I have all the skills and the understanding and the knowledge how to do it, and it just seems so easy. And I'm like, why is this so easy and why do I understand so much? I haven't done anything because I have, and I've failed. And I don't know if people online count like businesses that didn't even make money as failed businesses, but I mean, to a point, you could, because I learned so much from each of those. And so now I have this interesting skill set where I can do automations. So I can basically streamline SOPs and find things that are repetitive and make automations for them so that I don't have to do them. So now I'm a more productive worker. I know how Shopify works and I know how payment processing works. I know how a little bit of programming with AI and I know how to get apps in the App Store. And so anything to do with making an online store or an app or a website and having payment processing for that and user feedback, gamification, I understand all that. And so I have this unique skill set where I've been presented with somewhat of an opportunity to help someone, and I just seem to know exactly what to do for the first time ever. And it's because I've failed, or I'd say given up so many times on so many other things, that now for some reason the stars are aligning and my skill set is like perfectly aligned for something. And so for those of you who listen to that 8-minute rant about me talking about random stuff, the moral of the story here is you might be in a period where you are just learning what you need for a future event. You might just be early. So I maybe 3 or 4 years down the line am going to start a business that, I don't know, is super successful, right? But me now might have to do things to fail to learn in order to have the skill set that I can't even imagine that I need yet. And so sometimes, whether you believe that there's a destiny or that you create your future, sometimes you get into a strange predicament in the future where it seems like all these random things that were unrelated seem to have all connected in supporting of a new opportunity. And that's what I feel like right now. And I find it interesting because I can use this as a driver going forward. Because when I do things and I fail, I can be like, maybe at some point in the future, this will be useful. Maybe it won't, but maybe at some point in the future, this will come in clutch and it will help me or put me ahead or in some way benefit me that I can't even comprehend now. I had no idea that I would be doing what I'm doing right now 3 years ago. No clue, right? And yet, for some reason, all of these things that I have tried and failed or given up at are aiding me and making me much better at what I'm doing than I should have been with the amount of experience I have. And so I find it interesting just that if you give up on a bunch of things or fail at a bunch of things, you may just not be able to comprehend that all of those skills that you think are useless or that you gave up on might come back in the future and be extremely useful. Another example of this is like my college classes. I was on the train of like college is BS and I'm not going to use this in the real world. And now I'm sitting here wishing that I would have paid more attention in class because I just couldn't comprehend at the time that the stuff that I learned might come in clutch in the future. And now I'm using all of it. And I wish I would have paid more attention. And I'm literally using it. And so at the time, you might not be able to comprehend why you were doing what you're doing, but at some point in time, it will make sense. And so, if nothing else, let that be a driver that causes you to stay consistent and keep doing what you're doing. Because eventually, it will come in clutch. It will be a worthy skill that you need, and it'll all make sense. Hopefully. But yeah, I will. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.